folks. This live stream is brought to you by my sponsor AAA FX. Now, they're a fully regulated broker in Europe and South Africa offering Forex indices, commodities, crypto, and over 100 stocks. Now, at AAA FX, you pay no commission on any Forex pair using their ECN Plus account and low commissions on cryptos and stocks. Plus, you can deposit with cash or crypto, get a free VPS with deposits over 5K, and easily integrate the well-known copy trade service Zulu Trade. While you're waiting for the stream to start, go and check them out by clicking the link in the description, comments, or visit AAAFX.com.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How are we doing today? Happy Saturday, happy weekend. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all, wherever you are in the world. We'll be getting started here in just a few minutes. We have a ton of pairs to go over, so sit back, get your coffee, get your tea, get your juice, whatever gets you going. We will get started here in a few minutes. A lot to learn, a lot to unpack this morning, so be sure you are staying on for the entirety of the session. And as always, if you cannot make the entirety of the session, please feel free to watch the recording as it will be posted to Cam's YouTube channel shortly after the live session ends. So guys, you know the drill. You know what we do here. Drop your location, where you guys from, what pairs are you guys looking at to start the new week. Quickly, as the market closed yesterday, I had to do a lot of analysis to prepare you for this live session today. So quite a few pairs, but if you guys did any analysis between market close and today, please feel free to drop some pairs in there, what you're looking for, what you're currently in, maybe what you made money on this past week. Portugal, India, UK. Awesome, awesome, awesome. It is Saturday morning for me, so I'm enjoying a nice cup of coffee. Cup of coffee or like 3 or 4. Canada, gold, EJ, GJ. Awesome. I'll be going over those except for gold today. Just as a reminder, our trading challenge has officially started last Monday, and the cutoff was yesterday. So good luck to everyone who is currently a part of that. And we have quite a few people, so good luck to you all. And yep, I'll be going over EU. Julian, nice to see you. US 30. I don't really trade indices, so I won't be going over US 30 today. Even though I did go over it last Wednesday, it missed my entry just by a fraction of a hair, really. But I don't see any other setup in US 30, and I like to specialize in what I trade and not really diversify. If you guys are trading like a million different things, then wouldn't recommend it. But if US 30 suits you, then you do you. I'm in some pairs that you have spoken earlier. Well, awesome. Good deal. I'll be going over them again today and then giving you guys an update. Hey, what's going on, Daniel? Nice to see you here. Hopefully my voice will start to clear up a little bit as I just woke up about 30 minutes ago. So I have to wake up a little bit. This is going to be an awesome live session today, guys. I have like 25 pairs I'm going over, essentially every single Forex pair. I want to talk about just briefly on each of them. I'm not going to go into super amount of depth here just because it would take hours and hours. So I'm going to try to keep it a little under 2 hours today. Try to give you as much value as possible. But, you know, as we keep saying on all these live sessions, I know I keep saying them on Smart Money Sundays, or at least Aiden does, and then on the daily market breakdown videos within our VIP. You guys need to be tuning into this stuff. You know, if you are available or if you have time, which everyone should have time, please go in and even just watch the recording. You know, just mark off these areas of interest. You're not going to want to miss out on them. They're really, really valuable. We keep hitting these entries and take profits every single week. Of course, we do incur some losses. That's just normal. But, you know, the past few weeks, we have done tremendously well, really within the last few months, to be quite honest. I actually created a video that I think Cam might be posting to his YouTube here shortly. going over all of the trades within our VIP. Really what the purpose of that video is not to boast about the trades, but to really go over some transparency that I think this industry lacks. I think a lot of people don't show really the correct, I wouldn't say the correct pieces of analysis, but the correct trades that they're actually getting into themselves. So, a lot of, fake profits out there, fake trades. And I wanted to go over my whole entire Discord showing the actual before analysis that has been sent out, and then going to the charts and showing you what it's actually played out. So wanted to be transparent. So watch out for that video. It's going to be awesome. But we will get started here in about, let's say, 2 more minutes. Wait for people to trickle on in, and then we'll get going. I know some people are going to trickle into as we keep going, but that's how it always is. Nigeria. Where else you guys from? Kentucky. I'm guessing you're going to be watching your Kentucky Wildcats today. I don't know how many of you guys are college football fans, especially in the U.S. football or American football, but so excited. College football and NFL football have started up again. Really makes trading a lot better. Looks something to look forward to in the weekend. Morocco, baby. Nigeria, South Africa, Zambia. Awesome. Love to see it. Love to see it. Anyone in the States today besides Kentucky? I haven't seen anything yet. Turkey. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. As always, please let me know if you can hear and see my screen here. Let's see. Share screen. Boom. There we go. We got Egypt. We got DC. We got Richmond. Awesome, guys. I appreciate your participation this morning. Madison, Wisconsin. I was actually just in Minnesota. I don't know how far away that is. I know it's kind of right in the border, like Minnesota and Wisconsin, something like that. The Maldives. All right, you guys can see this. Cool. Let's get right into it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go over quite a few pairs. So you can see all the pairs in red that I've done analysis on. I'm going to go through all of them. The ones that I don't, like UJ, like ECAD, like Chef J, I'm not going to go over those. I just didn't see anything on them. They wouldn't be providing with any value. So I'm going to try to keep these pairs about 2 to 3 minutes a piece so we can get through all of these in about an hour, hour and a half. Then I'm going to take some questions and go through. So save your questions until the end, please, because I cannot see the chat live. So just write them down or just remember them so I can answer them after the live is over. As always, be sure to mark off this stuff as you go, or at least write down the pair that I'm going over and the price point in which I have my areas of interest. Okay, it's going to be very important that not only you're paying attention to what I'm going over, but you can actually write this down and then apply it to your charts after the live session so you're fully prepared for the week ahead. And I promise you guys, if you do this each and every week, really every Wednesday that we have our lives and every Saturday, it's going to produce so much value and it's going to be very fruitful for you throughout the trading week. All right, so let's first start off by talking about the DXY. I don't talk about the DXY too often because it really doesn't truly matter, but the DXY is a collection of all of the US-based pairs and their strength and what's going on with them. So, I've been talking about this level for quite some time, 111.31, and we can see that if I go out to the higher time frame here, really this is our last buy to sell. And this is not something I'm looking to take shorts from. I'm just saying that if we're going to go long, well, we're going to go and break this high. But if we're going to go short, we're probably going to have to push up into this imbalance and into this last supply level. All right, so we haven't even reached that yet. We're very close, which is why I think continued dollar strength is definitely inevitable. Okay, so last week we had that spillover to the downside. We had some dollar weakness come in as expected. We took out some equal lows, and then we had a massive push to the upside. So creating ascending liquidity right now. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe we snagged that to start the week, maybe filled some imbalance in here, and then just continued. We're looking for continued dollar strength at least until 111.31. But with the rise in interest rates, I would expect more dollar strength to continue. Not a lot of correlation has been upon us lately, so I'm not really taking correlation into account. I'm looking at just the individual levels and setups. So looking at least 111.31, higher time frame, we're still bullish on the dollar. All right, so we'll keep that in mind as we go through these pairs today. AUD JPY. So as most of you may know, I've been talking about this pair for quite some time now, and we are in a higher time frame uptrend. Okay, so I know this is blurry. I'm just zoomed out here, but you can just see the market structure that we're forming. Higher high, higher low, higher high. This is an overall higher low. Okay, higher high. So we're looking for a higher low. Now a higher high up into 100. 100 is going to be that psychological level. It's also going to be that area of supply that we haven't come into yet. So when we broke structure to the downside here, guys, remember when we started this huge run from 2014 all the way from 2016, I believe, maybe even further. Yeah, even further, back down to 2020. This is where we broke structure. So this is very important. And I just had a one-on-one with a client who, really, really knew what he was doing, and it was really fruitful for the both of us. He understood this concept very, very well. And it was really good to see because not a lot of people do understand these concepts in terms of, maybe not necessarily smart money concepts, but more of the where demand flips to supply and supply flips to demand. It is in relation to that structure shift, but it also is very important to understand, where are the orders left over? So in all reality, this is the last buy to sell before the structure break, but to get back up into premium price, this was our last supply zone before the structure higher time frame was shifted. Right, this was the failure to make that higher high in this counter trend sequence. You can see the high, the low, the high, the low. We reacted off of the demand relatively. We pushed up, but we failed to make a higher high. And that's where we started the rollover process. So this is really where I want to be getting back up into on AJ. So that lines up with that psychological level of 100. So going all the way back over to current price, that is our objective. So we know we're going to be coming into that most likely. Obviously, nothing is guaranteed, but I have to give high probability areas of interest here. But we can see we've made a higher high in comparison to this high here. We've made a higher high, so I wouldn't be surprised if we had an overall pullback, maybe made a higher low, maybe deeper down into discount, maybe something in here, maybe even to fill and balance down in here. So at this current time, we have broken the counter trend structure. Now we have to understand that if price does just go long from here, we have to just take it, on the chin and be like, okay, whatever. We are in a higher time frame bullish market. Even though we had some form of distribution, we had our last buy to sell, which occurred during the news, and we fell and broke the counter trend structure. So even though technically we're bearish lower time frame, we are still higher time frame bullish. But I am looking more for a deeper retracement back down into discounted price in the higher time frame. So I am very much interested in this area of supply that had not been mitigated yet. So if we can get back up into that supply and fall, that would be very, very nice. I'm also kind of correlating this with other yen pairs as we're starting to see some relief on the yen in terms of some strength. But on the lower time frames here on AJ, maybe on the 15-minute, we can see where that manipulation occurred with that news event that occurred on the 13th. I think that was CPI, was it? If I'm mistaken, I'm not quite sure. Anyways, big, huge buy to sell. We swept these relatively equal highs, took liquidity, moved against us. We kind of filled the gap, failed to make a higher high, lower low. So this pullback did not mitigate this level of supply here, which is why I have these two entries. So if you're looking at this in terms of entries, half risk here, and then we continue with the trade. Okay, so that's AJ. AU is relatively the same thing, even though we did sweep higher time frame liquidity. We swept this low here from July. We finally did that. This doesn't mean that we're going to be going long now. It just means that we might experience a deeper retracement. But, dollar is still very strong, and we haven't come into that 111.31 level on the DXY. So I am still much interested in continuations to the downside. We had a beautiful, beautiful trade here this past week. Finally did hit our take profit on Friday. So it was an awesome trade. I talked about this last Saturday on our live session. I noted that the dollar was quite tricky. However, we wanted to get back up into premium price and then ultimately take out this prior low. So maybe some dollar weakness to start, which is exactly what happened. We created more equal highs throughout the week. And then we had a massive buy to sell into a 15-minute time frame level of supply that I've been talking about for quite some time. So it was a beautiful trade taken by our VIP. Awesome. I think we hit about like a 1-7 on this one, if I'm not mistaken. About that much. If I can just pull it up very quickly. Personally, my stop loss was above this high. You could have placed your stop above that zone, this 15-minute supply, and I didn't. Oh, maybe it wasn't that big. Maybe about 1 to 5, but still, very good trade there. So what am I looking for now? Well, just looking for probably a bigger pullback, maybe back up into supply here. If we can get a deeper pullback up into here, that would be nice. In and around that 6825 level, maybe 686 level here. Just getting a deeper retracement for another continuation that would be expected. But I will keep you guys updated throughout the week, those of you who are in VIP. So looking for further strength in the dollar. That's what we're looking for. CAD JPY. So kind of going along with AUD JPY shorts. Higher time frame, we're definitely very much bullish, as we can see. All right, so going to the daily time frame here, let's look at basic market structure. We can see our higher high, our higher low. Higher high, this is just an overall higher low. We swept this prior low, just a liquidity run, and then we made that higher high. So what can we expect? A higher low. So when we have that final retracement before another continuation, we want to get back down into discount. This is where the higher time frame comes in. This is where you need to be pulling your higher time frame fib and seeing, okay, well, where can we be pulling back into? So I'm really liking the 61, 71, 78, just because this is our last point of demand. And, we really want to be buying at the most discounted price possible. Okay, so now let's zoom into our lower time frame and let's see what we can find. So I've been talking about this level for quite some time as well. We can see that we have the head and shoulders fake out, that sell to buy, that, we tried to entice retail traders to go short below the neckline here. We did so, and we can see this was our last point of supply here, right? In the counter trend, we're making lower lows and lower highs, reacting off of supply each time. But right in here, we broke through that supply, and then we shifted market structure. So that's exactly the region of price we had to come down and mitigate. So that was that. And then we made a move back to the upside, making another higher high. So I was waiting for price to pull back into either, imbalance or our last points of demand, lower time frame before going long, but we never did that. We just kept on trickling up. So that would be that overall level in which I would like price to come into for that higher time frame pullback. But since we are now lower time frame bearish, I could be looking for shorts down into it. Now, this doesn't mean that just because, let's just say, for instance, this is our objective level that we want price to come into, it doesn't mean that you should just automatically sell this or just try to create an excuse to sell this pair. Only if there is a setup in the opposite direction of trend should we take the trade, right? You have to treat each trade individually from one another. So we can see, we're making higher highs, higher lows, generated equal highs here, ran those equal highs with this huge buy to sell, and then broke the counter trend structure right in here, creating more equal highs. So I was hoping to get that retracement back up into imbalance, getting back up into the sponsor candle. I believe it's on the 15-minute time frame. Yep, beautiful sponsor candle there. Boom, buy to sell. Came down, created relatively equal lows, and then busted right through it. So you can kind of say that this is, our sponsored candle, but also this is our supply, lower time frame. So really wanting to get back up into 109.38, take out these equal highs that draw on liquidity, and then react and go short. So that's what I'm looking for. So mark off that 109.38 on CAD JPY. All right, CAD Chef. So this is an interesting pair because what I was talking about higher time frame for quite a while now is that I wanted price to get deeper down into this demand. We can see higher time frame. We have created a higher high, an overall higher low, and then a higher high. So what do we expect? Overall higher low, right? So what's interesting about this is that not only did we have equal lows here that we finally came into and swept, but at the same time, we have a lot of higher time frame daily imbalance in here, just straight buying volume. Okay, so going down to the 4-hour, is there another confluence that we could potentially see? In this case, yes, there is that last point of return, this last point of demand. We can see really everything in here has been mitigated out of. I don't really see much in here, but on the daily time frame, this is imbalance. So this was our last point of demand there, and we have come into that very, very nicely. So going way back over to the right, we have had a reaction from this level. So we've filled that imbalance. We have come into that demand. So I will be looking for longs here on CAD Swiss franc. Now, I'm not going to just be longing from this level. I mean, you could have longed from this level, place your stop right there. That would have been fine. You would have been in a little bit of profit, but I'm going to wait for the market to open, wait for the market to settle in come Monday, Tuesday, and see where we're at. And if we can get some sort of, accumulation to where we break boom, 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 break of structure, then yes, I will be looking for those continuations to the upside. So I'm just going to be sitting on my hands. I want to see more price action. I want to see more price momentum shift to the upside. But overall, even though we are bullish, we still have to take into consideration the fact that we're still counter trend bearish. So even if we get back up into here, we react off our objective, right? So in all reality, we should be making a higher high because just based upon market structure, boom, 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 right? I don't want to totally forget about the fact that we're counter trend bearish here. So what we'll do is if price gets back up into these levels of supply, we can see that this was the pullback. This is where price started to slow down. We had distribution in here, and then price had that last push up, pull back, failed to make a higher high, and that's where we had the lower low. So these two levels of supply are definitely still valid, but I'm not going to just be selling these off of sell limits, right? Because of the fact that we came into objective, and if we have the reaction strongly, I would definitely probably expect a higher high. But to potentially hedge my buys for shorts, because we're still counter trend bearish, I may be looking for entries in and upon these levels, just in case we do, potentially create another lower low, like that, and actually break structure to the downside, right? So we'll just have to see what happens. I'm going to, just sit on my hands on this. We may not even get back up here next week. This may take a few weeks if we even do have a reaction. So, obviously all VIP members sitting here today, I will be giving you updates on this, but currently nothing at the moment. Currently waiting for buys since we have entered our buy region. Euro AUD did take a phenomenal buy opportunity from last week. If you guys recall, from last Saturday's live session, I told you guys that when we closed here last Friday into our level of demand, I said, I'm waiting for price to open and immediately start to push up. Why? Because we had already entered that level of interest from Friday's close. So the only thing for price to do is push to the upside. Obviously, if it was a valid trade, which in this case it was. So, we're just continuing with market structure. Higher time frame, we are very much bearish. We can see here daily. Very much bearish, higher time frame, but I want to get back up into our most recent supply zone. So when we're trending down, right, we're having our expansion down, and then we shift structure and we start to pull back, right? This is not a break of structure to go long. This is really just a higher time frame pullback. What you would like to see is that pullback into our last point of supply, which is right in here. So I would like to get back up into at least 1.5060, let's call it. 1.5065. And we can see we haven't hit that yet. So any retracement to go long would be very much valid up until that level. Okay, so we're just playing off of market structure. We're playing off of institutional liquidity concepts within market structure. So it's providing us with very great risk to rewards. I believe we did buy it here. Yes, this was our 30-minute level 2 weeks ago. Or no, I don't think that was. Maybe I was talking about Euro NZD potentially. I think it was Euro NZD. But anyways, we reacted off demand, swept liquidity, sell to buy, broke the counter trend structure. We pulled back into that imbalance right there, right? So we have market structure, we have liquidity, we have imbalance, we have that break of structure at 4 in the morning, that liquidity run at 2 a.m. Eastern. So that's London session. So we have time and price. So we're really just looking at market structure, which is one of the most important things you can understand, but then implementing these institutional concepts to then go and trade the market at high probability areas of interest. That's what we're all about. So last week we swept ascending liquidity. We came into our overall level of demand that was unmitigated because we have a lot of imbalance here. It's just basic market structure as well. We come down, we fill the gap pretty much to the T. If I just draw up my line, boom, boom, maybe missed it by a pipette or so. But anyways, we rise again. We go down to a lower time frame. We had that sell to buy that swept these lows that came into this gap. We broke structure again to the upside. We pulled back into, and I believe if you go all the way down to the 1 minute time frame, I still think it's a wick. And what does that tell you? That tells us that on the seconds time frame, there's probably a sell and a buy candle creating that sponsored move, which is exactly why we came back down and mitigated that exact same price point. So that created the new demand. We ended up making a higher high from there. We pulled all the way back down into that level of demand again, and then we rose. So we created a higher high after that. So just following market structure, what do we see? Well, I was interested in this level of demand here and this imbalance when we created the higher high because we created equal lows. I was hoping that we would get back down into that demand, having that just a very small pullback to go long, or if we get a deeper retracement, maybe back down into that imbalance as well. But anything besides this level, I mean, everything in here is completely fine. Everything in here is fine. We may come down into this demand, but that's why stops from this entry would be down here. Stops from this entry here could either be here or here, just depending on your level of risk tolerance. But those are all my only two valid levels on this. We can just see we're playing off of market structure, waiting to sweep liquidity come next week. So it's either boom, boom, or it's boom, boom. One of those two I'm looking for. So that's Euro AUD. Euro GBP. So I don't really see anything too pertinent on this at the moment. It's really just playing off market structure and daily inefficiency. So, we have expanded from our current downtrend. Remember, we were looking at sells all in here, and we had about 3 or 4 of them that hit take profit. But the one that we were in here obviously blew right through. So, we lost that one, but that's okay. Our wins still outpace our losses. But anyways, we can see that we shifted structure, right? We were in a huge, massive downtrend. This is where we failed to generate a lower low. We came down, swept liquidity into demand, and then we rose and made that higher high. So really, in all reality, this was just an overall pullback in the market for another continuation to the upside. If we can see this as a 1 drive, 2 drive, 3 drive sequence, looking at getting back up into higher time frame objective, which is this higher time frame level of supply here, and really just this last higher high, or really this last buying volume before the major sell-off that occurred, right? So we still have more room to go to the upside, a lot of imbalance to fill. So at least if we're going to possibly go short, not saying that we will, but if we will, then 0.8861 and 0.89425 would be those areas of interest. So we can see that we're still far away from them. Counter trend buys, at least, or current directional buys at this current time, are still very much valid. So for the here and now, let's just look at market structure. High, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. Let's zoom into this. So the prior higher high, higher low, we swept liquidity, sell to buy, coming into demand there. Okay. So after that higher high was formed, just scale in here. Higher high was formed, we're looking for a retracement. So if we end up going to the daily time frame, we can see that last sell to buy on the lower time frames lines up with that daily time frame sell to buy that we could fill imbalance from. So getting back down just deeper into this range here, 0.8684 would definitely be that valid level. Now, this would be a pretty decent sized stop loss. Let's just see how big it would be. That would be about 59, 60 pips or so. But that's okay. This is our higher time frame level. If you just want to take it off of that, that's fine. Or, we can take 0.5% risk here and then wait for more of that institutionally sponsored volume sell to buy to get in off of a better price, something like that, to have a better risk to reward. So not to say that you can't enter here. You definitely can, just in case you just come into it and then just trickle away without confirmation. You're still in the trade. But you could also place your position here and then wait for lower time frame confirmations within this level of price to then take it higher again. All right, so 8684 would be my buy limit, or just that buy region for Euro GBP. Euro JPY, again, very similar to CAD-J and AJ. Higher time frame, we have come into a higher time frame area of interest, 145, 146, 147. I think I've been talking about this for a while now when we were trading in here. So just basic market structure, guys. High, low, high, low, high. Okay, so we're still counter trend bullish, but we have finally come into that overall objective on EJ here. So before we made this overall downtrend, right? Before we started this huge downtrend, just like on AJ and CAD-J from 2014 probably to 2020, right? If we just zoom back out, something like that, to 2016, I guess. This was our last supply zone. We swept liquidity to the upside, created that higher high, pulled back, failed to make a higher high, lower low is formed. So this is our supply zone. So that would be our objective for any buys that we are looking at taking before reaching this overall objective. But once we come into it, it's not to say that we can't keep creating higher highs and higher lows. right? And then just completely break and keep going long, because in all reality, I mean, if I go to the weekly time frame, we're still, I guess, bullish here. Technically, we could easily come up maybe deeper into this or something, right? So we can still push higher, but if we are to go short, that would be the objective point. So the objective point lies to tell you, hey, look, this is where we're going to be headed, but it's also an area that we could reverse from. So any buys in this particular example that are taken, let's say somewhere down here, that would be your take profit. That's how you set proper take profits, understanding your objectives. And we can see here, if you look to that price point, 145.000, that's exactly where we reacted from. So going down to a lower time frame, just like on CAD-J and AJ, we are higher time frame bullish, but lower time frame, we're now bearish. We created a high, a low, a higher high, kind of generated liquidity in here. We swept it very strongly, failed to generate a higher high, and then made a lower low. Okay. So I would be interested in seeing some sort of pullback up into our higher time frame supply right there for shorts down into at least 140.75. So looking for shorts at 144, we can see that lines up perfectly. Well, with this supply zone, 144.00, that psych level, I would look to short into at least 140.75 because, and probably even lower to get back down into discount, maybe back down into this demand here, really just this overall level. So we can definitely leave a runner, but within this counter trend, low, high, low, high, low, high, was looking for a lower low, but we got that break of structure. So we can see the sponsor candle right there that swept liquidity, came into lower time frame supply, but also generated that imbalance when we actually broke to make a lower low. So that was my level of interest for shorts. Got a beautiful wick entry, but never sustained. We never had that follow through. So we pushed down, but we pulled back up and then went long. So that would be that area of interest that we could go long from. So that would be my first take profit. But if we come lower and have an overall retracement, then deeper down into this demand would still be valid. All right, so looking for shorts currently on Euro JPY from 144. Euro USD, looking for shorts here again. So Euro weakness, I guess you can call it. Looking for Euro JPY to fall, and Euro USD kind of follow suit as well. So, I mean, we're higher time frame bearish, as you know, and the dollar is continuing to rise. We have just come into our daily time frame 50 EMA, so I'm really liking this confluence here. The daily 50 EMA lines up perfectly. It looks really pretty on Euro USD. We can see perfect touches here, 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 and here, right? So this isn't to say that, oh, well, if we make a lower low and the daily 50 is right here, we should just sell it off the daily 50. No, you have to have more confluence in that. If you're trading it like that, you're thinking in terms of that retail mindset, which is not smart. But I'm just saying this adds a good confluence for all the other confluences of your trading. But nonetheless, we're trickling down, making lower lows, lower highs. Dollar is still strong. I'm looking for shorts. So what happened this past week? Well, first and foremost, a couple of weeks ago, at the beginning of August, so I guess I can say last month, we had that push up into imbalance and retested prior market structure, right? Just prior market structure, higher high, higher low, or excuse me, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Sorry, guys, I'm still waking up Saturday morning here. But anyways, we come into that level, we fill imbalance, we retest that market structure, we push down, we fail to make a higher high. We make that lower low. So that flips from demand to supply. This is our supply zone higher time frame. So we can see that this is the low, this is the high. Now we've made a lower low, right? We've made that overall lower low. So just because we have broken counter trend structure here doesn't mean we're going to go short. We could lower time frame, but if price decides to have an overall retracement, this could just be boom, 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 and then boom again. So just for that overall pullback into this supply level that has been unmitigated. Okay. So that's what we're looking for. We reacted off of mini time frame supply this week, and then we broke that counter trend structure, as we can see. High, low, high, low, high, low. Failed to make the higher high, lower low. Right? So we react off demand in here, but we did not make a higher high. We made a lower low. So now this becomes that demand to supply flip on the lower time frames, 1.01040. So this is our lower time frame play, right? Short. But if we get that higher time frame retracement, then I'll still be looking for this level to play out for that higher time frame level. This is why it's so important to understand higher and lower time frames, because if you didn't understand higher time frames, you would think that, oh, this is a break of structure, we got to pull back and go long. When in all reality, we're very much bearish. So we need to be looking for shorts higher time frame, which is going to be in here. So this would act as that overall pullback and not a break of structure to the upside. All right, so mark off those two levels, 1.01040, and let's call it 1.0275. We'll make it even. Whole figure. There we go. GBP AUD. Okay, so this was a level that I was talking about this past week. We had the initial reaction, but now we're starting to see some pushes to the downside. So not to say that we're actually going to go short here. I guess I would like to see an open on Sunday and then an immediate push to the upside, because this is our area of interest. We may come a little bit short in here. We may sweep this low, come down deeper into demand here, but in all reality, we should not come below this level. This low here really shouldn't come below 1.69. But if we do, then we'll know that this is the end of the pullback, and now we can see that lower low. So now we can looking at areas of supply that form into pullbacks for shorts. That's just how we can adapt to the market. We're not going to be perfect every time. Even though we do win the majority of our trades, sometimes we do lose, just like every trader does. So we just have to take it as it is and then look to objectively switch our bias and adapt to what the market's giving us and not be married to a bias. If I was married to this bias here, I would continue to look for longs, even if price already made that lower low, right? Because I have that tunnel vision and I'm like, I don't want to be wrong on the trade. I want to win this trade. I don't want to be wrong. That's what people think. That's why their psychology is messed up. So we can see here, and I've talked about this many times, there's on like the 5-minute time frame within those 3 candles, is accumulation that broke out. On the 15-minute time frame, there's accumulation in here that broke out. On the 1-hour time frame, as you can see, there's accumulation in here. So there's just that fractality of the markets looking very nice. So anyways, we broke out, we retested, we went long, broke the counter trend here, higher time frame. So that's where we bought it last week. Okay, so we looked for longs, boom, got into longs, lower time frame. Let's see, and here we swept equal lows. This wick came into this wick, so filled that gap, made that higher high. So always looking for that higher low. We pulled back, pushed up, created equal highs, pushed back down into this 1-hour time frame level of demand. We can see that this was the last sell to buy. We had that reprice in continuation. So that acted as our demand. Very surprised we didn't react and go long here. It was a very beautiful setup, to say the least. But that doesn't mean we're going to lose this trade here. If we have a little bit of a deeper retracement, we can still look to go long. We're still technically bullish until we break this structure point. Okay, so still looking for longs. Higher time frame, though, we are bearish. We have to understand that. We're making lower lows, lower highs. Lower low, pullback, supply. Lower low, pullback, supply. Lower low, pullback. That could be your supply that we could come into to mitigate, right? But we may not get a deep retracement. This may be the end of the retracement. We may make a lower low now. So we'll just have to adapt to what we see. But anyways, looking for longs until we close below 1.69. So just remember that. GBP CAD. So now, and this is where correlation doesn't really come into play. I'm looking for longs in GA. I'm looking for shorts on GCAD, whatever. Probably one will lose, one will win. But doesn't matter because our risk rewards are big anyways. And since we're entering off of high levels of interest, high probable levels of interest, our winners are definitely going to outbeat our losses, as always. So with GBP CAD, this was our huge buy to sell. 3-hour time frame looks the prettiest, right? And this is why I don't trade specific time frames. You have to just zoom in and zoom out of these time frames. So right here, this huge buy to sell. Where did this buy to sell come into? If you recall from a few weeks ago, we sent out this level. I think we talked about it within the live session as well. Descending liquidity, run, buy to sell. Failed to make the higher high, lower low was formed. So we want to be pulling back up into the supply. This buy to sell swept liquidity, obviously came into a lower time frame level of supply. So we're just continuing with the lower time frame trend here. So we generate more liquidity as we tend to do before reaching a level. Huge buy to sell, boom, sweep liquidity, come into our level. And now we are still in profit on GBP CAD and I'm holding this position. So now we make that lower low. We pull back, sweep liquidity, lower time frame. And then what we do, Counter trend, boom, 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 boom. Reaction, failed to make the higher high, lower low. So that becomes our supply lower time frame. So lower time frame, we could definitely be reacting off of this price point in here, our lower time frame supply zone, just in case we just follow lower time frame structure and go like that. But if we do get an overall pullback, which we finally got, right? Now we can still be looking at, still have confidence in this trade that we had from our original positions because it's still unmitigated. And boom, we had that wick entry. So I don't care that I lost this trade. Really, I didn't lose because I broke even, luckily, because, had the reaction came a little bit higher. If it just went up there and didn't have this huge crash, then yeah, I would have lost the trade. But I saw this as, okay, huge momentum is shift. We're probably not going to come back up into this level. If we do, we're going to go higher. So stops to break even, partials taken, didn't lose, but didn't make as much money as I hoped. But anyways, we came back up into these two levels. Why are those levels valid? Well, because when we had that huge, 3-hour buy to sell candle that I showed you, this was the counter trend. This was where we had that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th touch of the trend line. And also the counter trend here, high, low, high, low, high, low, failed to make the higher high, lower low. So this candle provides that supply zone because we made that lower low there. Okay, so those two levels are still valid, or they were valid. Now this one has been met to the T, boom, right back to the downside, and we have made that higher time frame lower low. So we have shifted structure, high, low, high, low, high, lower low. So now we need to be looking at pullbacks. So we have a lot of liquidity in here, and I'm looking more for a retracement, maybe back up, sweep liquidity, come into this hourly time frame supply, and then go short. However, I would not totally, take away this level's validation. If we end up coming a little higher, I would still be interested in taking shorts from that level because it is still an unmitigated level. Because until we really close back above this high here, we're still bearish. So I still need to be looking at this as a valid trade, even if we do come higher. But first and foremost, I'm holding this position here. I'm break even there because I got a wick entry, and I'm looking at adding positions here. If I do, phenomenal. If I don't, oh well, I lose that one. I'm doing that on half risk because I'm already in this position. I've already taken partials on this, so it already would, break even on a loss that I would incur from here, right? So no matter if I win or lose this, I wouldn't lose any money. And then I would come up, break even, and look to short it from there again. Okay, so it's very strategic in which you look to place entries, take partials, move stop to break even, have your entries at different levels, know which ones are valid versus invalid. This will play into your profitability. So, this is why I really highly recommend you keep focusing on these live sessions and these videos that we post. VIP, you have all of the analysis we send out on all the daily market breakdown videos. These daily market breakdown videos are essentially what I'm going over today, just in a little more depth, but it's every single day to keep you guys updated. GBP Swiss franc. Okay, so looking for shorts here, we are very, very much bearish. Current time frame, we're making lower lows, lower highs. We were originally wanting this liquidity run to be mitigated. We can see the 1, 2, 3 touches of this trend line, right? People were selling off the trend line, equal highs, buy to sell. This was our last buy to sell volume, 1.1139. We just missed it here. But if price does end up coming back to the upside and hitting it, I'll still be interested in that level. But, if we just continue with the lower time frame structure, then this would be my most valid supply zone. Okay, so around 1.1080. So we created that supply, made that lower low, are creating descending liquidity, 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. Hopefully we'll run it, boom, buy to sell into that supply level. If we come a little bit higher, then into that 1139 level. So that's what I have on GBP Swiss franc. GBP USD. Nothing very pretty on this at the moment. I'm looking for overall shorts because dollar is extremely strong. We were originally hoping for this pullback up into 1.18. We can see here this huge buy to sell that swept descending liquidity coming into a mini time frame level of supply. We're just continuing with structure, but looking at these supply levels as we go and where liquidity is actually run. So we made the lower low. We made a lower high, but we didn't push up into this level. I was, quite annoyed, but whatever, we made a lower low again. So now we can just follow the lower time frame structure. If we get an overall pullback back up into 1.18, then yes, I'll still be interested in shorting, but we have to just follow lower time frame structure here and understand, we could easily, fall from there or fall from here to just go with the regular structure. So we ended up having our last buying volume before the big sell-off, came into a mini time frame level of supply, and then we shorted off. So that would be my secondary entry, would be right here, that supply zone. My first entry, because this is such a strong move. Whenever you see strong moves like this in the market, usually I always play off of definitely the supply or demand zone, in this case supply, but also, the 50% of the imbalance. Okay, so from this order region, you can pull a fib from here to here, and you would get that 50% right in there. So 1.1632 could be another potential entry for you as well. So looking for shorts upon those levels, just need a retracement, and then we'll be looking for continuations. NZD USD, very similar. And again, just like AUD USD, we had that beautiful entry from this 15, there's a 15-minute level of supply here. It's the same sort of deal, right? And I'm just going to go over this very quickly so you can see the whole mitigation train, just how beautiful this actually is. So first and foremost, very fast, what's the market structure? Low, high, low, high, low, right? So we're higher time frame bearish. Counter trend, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, pullback, fail to make a higher high, lower low. This becomes our supply zone, which is exactly why we had shorts from this level. That's exactly why we stopped there as well. We created distribution, we distributed in here, and we fell. So this gave us conviction that we definitely are going short. So, in this region of price, we had our Asian range. This is Asian session. Okay. We had the fake out, entice the sellers from the Asian low, push up, take their stops, entice the buyers above the Asian high, the breakout traders there. We mitigate supply and we go short, taking their stop losses. So essentially big, huge buy-ins, institutionally sponsored buying volume. This is where the institutions were manipulating price. So when we pulled back up into that exact same price point, I entered short. So that's why we had that wick entry. So now let's look for counter trend structure. High, low, fail to make a higher high, lower low. This becomes that supply zone. So boom, that's where we had our second level of entry. And we can see on a lower time frame, we generated liquidity before getting up into that level. Generate liquidity, buy to sell, mitigation, entry, short, break of the counter trend structure there. So I wanted price to pull back into our counter trend in here. It's really just doing the same thing over and over and over again, guys. That's really it. High, low, just a mini retracement or repricing event, probably due to the bank algorithms. And then we made that lower low after the reaction there. So now we know we're not coming above that level because we broke the counter trend structure. So this is where we want to be pulling back up into for another entry. Okay. So 616 is essentially the entry. It's that psych level within that supply zone. But again, this stuff happens over and over and over. We fail to come into it. Generates liquidity, right? We do the same thing. Make an overall lower low, finally pull back, generate more liquidity, a high there, a high here, a high here, a high here, and then have one last push up into that supply. Got the entry, and then we have, because of the news, we fell from there. The news was just used as the catalyst to inject volatility to make the market go in its intended direction because it was always meant to react off of the supply in the first place. So I showed you all the confluences, right? So I knew price was going to react, but I didn't know. I just, highly probable chance that price was going to. And that's exactly what happened. So if the news was just random, then price would have went like this, right? But since the news is just an excuse to move price in its overall direction, that's why we mitigated and we had that huge runaway from it. Okay, that CPI news, I believe. All right, so please don't ask me if some news event around the world is going to affect a currency pair. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't, because it's going to push into its overall levels. If, let's just say, news comes out and we're in this region of price and we're thinking, okay, we're going to short from this level, then it just blasts off. Well, then most people would blame the news and say, oh, that's why news is random. No, it's just because this wasn't valid. That's it. I'm not saying that it isn't valid. I'm just giving you an example. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that retracement back up into 0.61, that psychological level. Really just this last, you can see high, low, high, low, high, low, high, right? This is the volume, the last buying volume before the overall short. But if we come a little bit deeper into this lower time frame level of supply, the one that had the liquidity run in here and mitigated that supply before the fall, then yeah, 6124 would be that secondary level for me. So we can see, you know, we're making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. We just want that lower high for another lower low. So that's why I'm looking at DXY to maybe have a little bit of a push down, fill some imbalance before going long to hit that objective. So NZD USD would push up before, you know, coming back short. But we have to look at the higher time frame to understand that, one, we're definitely still very much bearish, but two, this is our objective. I would say probably at least 5.8 or maybe 5.750. The reason for that is when we had this huge equal low sell to buy, we created lower time frame liquidity and imbalance in there. That's why this is my objective. And look at how nicely this price point mitigated a 2009, I believe, accumulation. Accumulate, break the counter trend structure, pull back. This wick did not even tap into the market structure. So that's why we had this, just this box here, which is exactly where price came into. Just proves that smart money is real and the market always moves. There's always a reason behind the market movements. Every single market movement, nothing is random. Everything is planned. You get what I mean. But anyways, looking for shorts at least down into, 5.8 or 5.750. So we have a lot of room to go to the downside. We're still definitely bearish. So we're going to keep looking for overall short setups. All right, so we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, we have 11. I'm going to do one more. So I have 10 left. And then I'm going to take like a 2-minute break, answer a couple questions, and we'll get right back into it for the last final part. All right, so make sure you guys are writing all this stuff down too, guys. All right. Higher time frame, USD CAD. Where are we headed? We're bullish. Okay, cool. Now we know what we're supposed to be doing. Buying. Awesome. It's really just that simple. Okay. Where's our objective? Where could we possibly be going short from if we are, right? I'm not saying we're going to, but if we are, where does price turn around and go short? Well, at least 1.35 or 1.3850, because these are our higher time frame supply levels. Boom. We also have imbalance in here, and this is also another level of supply. So haven't even reached that yet. We have a lot of liquidity to run as well. Descending liquidity, 1, 2, 3 touches, that trend line, higher time frame. So we're pushing up into that level. Beautiful entry last week, or just this past week, from this level I have been talking about for quite some time. I paired this analysis with the same USD chef analysis that occurred. Where was it? I believe it was like right in here somewhere or something like that. Obviously, this one just pushed to the downside. I did take a small position on this because I thought, well, USD CAD was reacting, but USD chef wasn't. So did take a small loss, but I don't care. I mean, I'm in hella profit on this trade. That's why it's okay to lose money, guys. It's okay to lose trades. Don't think like, oh, I have to win every trade or I have to find the exact level in which it's going to react off of. Take your chances. If you have your rules met, if the confluences are there, take the trade. Using good risk management, overall, you're going to be profitable. Okay. So you can see here, demand equal lows were swept, sell to buy. This is our counter trend structure, failed to make that lower low, higher high. This becomes that demand. So imbalance in that demand level is why I had that confluence. Now, I said on a daily market breakdown video within VIP, I said that because this is the low that created this higher high, well, at this time it was right here. This is really in the middle of the range. In the middle, literally the middle of this range. And we really don't want to be buying in the middle of the range, right? It's either going to respect the current lower time frame structure, just continuing like this, boom, 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 boom. Or if we break that structure, it's probably going to have a deeper retracement into higher time frame demand, right? For that overall pullback for longs, right? So it wasn't the highest probable setup, but I figured, we had that CPI data coming out. A lot of other dollar pairs were entering into its area of interest, like AUD USD and NZD USD. So I'm like, okay, let me take a small position on this and happen to get a beautiful entry, 1.296, that psych level. So I don't really see anything in terms of current trades. I mean, if we get a retracement, back down into imbalance, we could definitely be looking for longs. Or if we just continue with lower time frame structure, pull back, long, pull back, this could act as demand. We may see like, okay, accumulation or just some sort of equal low, sell to buy, boom, 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 like that. So when you don't know if there's a setup, you may look at or mark off these levels. Just mark off the recent swing points or demand or supply levels, and then just wait to see what price does into these levels. You don't have to take trades from them, right? Because there's really no confluence just besides the fact that we're bullish and this is our last sell to buy, right? We have a lot of other confluences to the downside, meaning imbalance, getting deeper into retracement before continuations. But if we come into here and we formulate, crazy equal lows and we do something like that, break the counter trend, equal lows snagged, then yeah, that would be a beautiful trade that we would want to take advantage of. But this hasn't happened yet. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. If it does, then we're prepared to understand what we need to do. Okay. So target's 1.35. If you want to leave a higher time frame runner into 1.3850, it wouldn't be a bad idea. All right, so that's USD CAD. Sorry, this wasn't the best analysis. I just don't have much on it because the play that happened occurred this past week. And now it's just kind of trickling. So nothing too crucial or too imperative on this. We can pair this with other dollar-based pairs to understand we're very much bullish here on the dollar. Not only because of the DAXI, but because of dollar XXX USD is plummeting across the board. And anything USD, XXX like USD CAD, USD Chef, USD JPY, we're pushing out very strongly. So what does that tell you? Dollar strength. Okay, it's very simple. All right, let's take some questions. Let's see what we have. Okay. Can you talk about order blocks? Yeah, so order blocks are, I don't really call them order blocks. I really just call them supply and demand levels. It's essentially the same thing. It's really where the orders of the banks are left behind, where we need to come back up or down to mitigate. It's essentially what it is. So when you hear me say supply and demand, just think order blocks, I guess. Let's see. Someone says trash, so show bank statements. I've already done that before, guy. So, love all the negativity. That's why I do what I do. MetaTrader or CT Trader and IC Market. Not sure what that means. Sorry. Love your analysis. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Rip the queen. Yeah, definitely rip queen. Didn't create too much volatility on the pound or all the Commonwealth currencies, to be quite honest. That's why I really don't care when news events come out. It doesn't really matter. Do I consider my use of order flow? I mean, orders of buyer and seller. Yeah, I mean, smart money is the epitome of order flow. It understands, how orders are being, injected into the market, how they're being offloaded, onloaded. Accumulation distribution. I think there was a question about that. How to identify accumulation distribution within the market. So first and foremost, you need to understand, accumulation distribution is, higher time frame or lower time frame, doesn't really matter, offloading or onloading of positions by the big institutions, right? So we look for accumulation. Obviously, accumulation occurs when we're looking to continue to push to the upside. Distribution is, vice versa. But you like to be looking at accumulation distribution within these higher time frame levels of interest. So for instance, just a very quick analysis, just to show you what I mean by this. All righty. Let's go to NZD CAD. So this is a beautiful example. So first and foremost, this is our structure. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Equal highs were swept. I'm going to be going over this very shortly, but equal highs were swept higher, buy to sell into that supply. And I'll go over what this means and how to read price in here. But anyways, buy to sell, that becomes that, well, one, the structure point, but two, the volatility injection to sweep liquidity and mitigate. Lower low is formed. We pull back up. So, if price is going to distribute into this level, then I'll be looking for one, reactions in and around these levels. I could have looked for a reaction in here. Was there distribution in here? There really wasn't. So, and that's something that there's not always going to be accumulation or distribution in your level. That's why I don't put too much emphasis on, Wyckoff schematics. But if we do get something like that, like we do approach a level of interest, then I look at that level of interest and I'm like, okay, we are starting to make discrete higher highs and higher lows within it. Maybe I need to look for some sort of structure shift. That's exactly what we had. That's why we pulled back into this supply to go short. I also had another reentry there, but nonetheless, this would be that slowdown in price. So it's really just discrete higher highs and higher lows. And then for accumulation, discrete lower lows and lower highs, right? Why does it look like this most of the time? It looks like that because this is what it looks like when banks are offloading their position. So let's just go into the VFI, and I'm going to show you guys what this actually means. So I think I've already talked about this before, but when the banks are looking to sell price, someone has to be on the other side of the market to buy their positions. Okay. For every buyer, there has to be a seller. So that's why price continues to push up ever so slightly. They're getting out of their buys into their sells, but then also, selling the market to someone else. They're selling the market to someone else, meaning someone has to be on the other end to buy price, which is why price keeps pushing up ever so slightly. But the big banks, since they're the ones who move the market and they have most of the volume, the volume is starting to go from bulls to bears. They're starting to sell. That's why bullish volume is starting to diminish. All right, so that's how we can read this, volume price divergence. Price is continuing to push up, but volume is decreasing, and we're making discrete higher highs, higher lows into an overall level of interest. It's diverging from one another. We can know that through the institutional concept, the banks are offloading their positions or heading short, most likely. So that gives us confluence that we're looking for a reversal. So looking for shorts there. Hopefully that made sense. We have our, I think, Wyckoff Wednesdays episodes from a while ago that our Wyckoff guy did. Just go search Wyckoff Wednesdays on our YouTube. You probably should be able to find it. We also have a Wyckoff course that we talk about doing that. I'm not the Wyckoff expert. I have my other Wyckoff guy who helps out in that regard. But yeah, hopefully that maybe answered your question there. Let's see what else we have. How to trade in a ranging market. Easy answer, don't trade. Just don't trade. You don't need to find a trade. You want to be trading in the direction of trend. And when trend is not there and it's buying and selling, just ranging, you're not going to be making hardly any money. You want to be waiting for liquidity to be induced and then continuations with the overall trend for a highly probable setup. When you're ranging, it's just random price movements. It could just be accumulation or distribution, higher time frame. That's what really ranging markets are. Just consolidation blocks. I don't really trade that. It's just nonsense to me. So that's hopefully maybe that answers your question there. Let's see. You mentioned that a BOS wasn't a BOS. It was a pullback on higher time frame. It looked like you were in a daily time frame. You didn't have BOS before pullback can happen. So hopefully I'm understanding you correctly. When we're in a higher time frame downtrend like we are in EU, right? We have our higher time frame swing points, right? Within that higher time frame swing point, let's just say it's a higher time frame expansion to the downside. Within that is a lower time frame bearish trend, right? So when we have a pullback in the market, a higher time frame pullback, it is a lower time frame bullish trend. So when we break the lower time frame bullish trend to the upside, right, it doesn't mean that we're going to be pulling back and then just going long and now we're in a bullish market. It just means that since we're higher time frame bearish, we need to be looking at any possible lower time frame breaks of structure to the upside as just excuses or higher time frame retracements into some sort of higher time frame area of supply to then be looking to short the market again when it finally finishes its pullback. So, for an example with EU, very quickly, your USD, higher time frame, we are very much bearish. Like what are we doing here? Where are swing points? Boom, 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 boom. So right in here, yeah, we're definitely bullish lower time frame, but it doesn't mean that just because we're bullish lower time frame, we're just going to go like that. We're overall bearish in the market. These are our higher time frame swing points. So if we do get a quote unquote break of structure here, doesn't mean that we're going to go long. because this is the structure, boom, boom. So we need to be trading within this range, right? So we're just pulling back into a higher time frame level. How do we pull back into a higher time frame level? We have to break lower time frame structure. So hopefully maybe that answers your question. We also have the lower time frame trend here. Boom, 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 boom. So we could pull back and just keep going with this lower time frame trend. But eventually, we probably could have some sort of overall retracement. So we can't be surprised if we even close above this level here because we're still bearish and we haven't mitigated this supply. So we could easily do that and still maintain our overall bearish structure. So lower time frame shorts, but higher time frame shorts are still valid because we're higher time frame bearish. If we were higher time frame bullish, right? Then if we broke this structure, then yeah, absolutely. If we're higher time frame bullish, then yeah, we definitely want to be doing that, pulling back to go long. But we're not. We're bearish. So any break of structure per se would be good for overall shorts. Let's see. I'm going to do a couple more questions and then I'll get right back into it, guys. Does this concept also apply to other assets like gold and indices? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this applies to any market that you can trade. I mean, every single market is controlled by the institutions that, we are not the ones. We don't have the capital to move the market. It's these banks that do that and they manipulate price. If you have the power, if you have the money, you can do pretty much whatever you want. You can manipulate the financial markets. You really can. So that's how they're moved. They're based upon supply and demand, offloading, onloading positions, taking liquidity, freeing up liquidity to then, push in its overall direction. They have an objective for every single movement of the market. They always have to do something. Like there's always a reason for it. So understanding first and foremost that they are the ones pushing price. Why don't we take that as, okay, let's see where they're getting into the market so we can just follow along. That's essentially what smart money is in all reality. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question. The way that you explain setups are amazing. GCAD, GAUJ. Yeah, thank you, bro. I appreciate it. How can I join VIP group? Head over to my website, book a free call with us. It's arielfxtrading.com. I'll just post it in here really quick. Yeah, we love to speak with you if you are interested, just to make sure that we are on the same page and we can actually help you. And if we can, and we can put together a personalized plan for you that helps you to reach your goals, in which we are doing for each individual client of ours. All right. Do you trade US 30? I do not. I only trade Forex. I just want to specialize in that. All right. All right, let's get right back into it, guys. Let me share my screen again. And we'll finish off here. Okay, so I think we left off on, where was it? USD CAD, was it? Yeah, okay. USD CAD. So USD Swiss franc. So yeah, we're looking for continuations, higher time frame with USD Swiss franc. Why? Because for one, we haven't come up into objective. This is higher time frame supply. We haven't reached that. We can see we have liquidity here and here. So this is our objective. We haven't come into it yet. So still within this bullish trend, we need to be pushing up higher. And that's just easy because the dollar is very strong. But anyways, when we were pulling back into here, right, lower lows, lower highs, we came into where we broke out and made another higher high. This is right in here, the last point of demand. Okay, so that demand was met perfectly, pretty much to the pip. And we had that beautiful mitigation. So let me go to the 4-hour, that'd be better. So we came into this order region, right, on a lower time frame. We're efficient in here. We're respecting each and every level of demand. We're mitigating them perfectly. Higher highs, liquidity, last sell to buy, coming into demand in here. So everything is efficient until we get this huge expansion. Now we have broken out of structure. This becomes imbalance. So we want to get deeper down into that imbalance and fill and come down into this demand zone, or that order block, I guess you could say, even though that's not my term. But anyways, we mitigate that perfectly. We push up to the upside. We end up pulling back down. It's kind of odd price action, but the reason why we stopped in here was because this is where this low is. This is where we swept that liquidity. This is where we stopped, almost like a break and retest. We can see that these bearish candles in there were that break and retest from the retail traders. Then we pushed right through, we pulled back, and then we went long. So we have that region of imbalance in here. So we filled that imbalance perfectly. We can see straight buying volume lines up perfectly with where we snagged this liquidity, where we retested, where we broke through, where we retested again. So imbalance where we needed to fill. So price comes back down into that level, boom, has that strong reaction. So lower time frame, I don't really see much right now. What I really want to see is a shift in the counter trend, meaning there's really no counter trend here. Okay. I want to see a shift in momentum so that we know we're actually going to continue. So right now, this is just really just one push to the upside. I want to see a failure to make a lower low and then another higher high. When I see that failure to make a lower low and a higher high, now I know that we're in this pullback phase, or really just continuations with the trend because we're overall bullish. So, we haven't done that yet. We just reacted from the level. Could we make a lower low? Yeah, we could. So I want to see that failure first and then the higher high again. So maybe if we can see something like, okay, this is our last selling volume in here, imbalance needs to be filled up. Maybe if we come back down, sweep this liquidity, come back down into imbalance, our last selling volume, and then rise again, break the other structure, fail to make that lower low, then we can pull back and go long. Something like that. And it hasn't happened yet. Maybe it won't even do that. But that's something that I would like to see. So if it does happen or something in that regard, then we can know that we're taking a high probability setup. So long story short, we're looking for buys on USD Chef. All right, we just have to find that setup first. NZD Swiss franc. I don't know if I want to talk about this at the current time. It's nowhere near the entry. It could take weeks. But anyways, I'll just do it very quickly then. Higher time frame, where are we going? We're bearish, right? Boom, we're bearish. Nice. So what do we need to be doing? Selling. Good job. Pull back, lower low. What do we need now? Pull back, lower low. That's just market structure. Beautiful. Okay. So now where do we need to be pulling back into? Well, I'm not going to go over all this stuff. I already went over this in VIP and other live sessions, but we had a beautiful trade here and a beautiful trade here. So we got stopped out break even here and then got into our second position here for shorts. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful trades, guys. So you don't want to be missing out on this stuff. But anyways, lower time frame, lower low, we broke the structure. So now we pull back lower high. This is just an overall retracement, right? Boom, 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 retracement for a short. So where's the most recent supply? Higher time frame right in here. Okay, so let's zoom into that higher time frame level. This is our last buy to sell. Buy to sell reaction, failed to make a higher high. We make a lower low. So this is the mini supply within this sponsored volume, within this pullback phase, higher time frame supply. So if we get that pullback back up into our level, at least into 59374, just the start of that last buy to sell, or back up into our lower time frame level of supply, there at maybe 5950, 5960, I'll definitely be looking for shorts. But at this current time, there's really just nothing to play off of lower time frame. And this is where we have to just be patient and then just wait and just be like, okay, well, maybe if price goes like this, we generate liquidity. Who knows? We buy to sell. We generate liquidity. Boom, equal highs, come up into supply, fill in balance here, and, test that and then break the counter trend structure. Then, yeah, that would be your setup. Then we can take that short. We don't have to wait for price to get up here. But this is the only setup at the moment. So I'm just going to be waiting until price gets up here to take a short. But if we see something like this lower time frame, something that could form intraday, it's just liquidity concepts and structure, then I would be willing to take something like that, right? But until this occurs, because I don't know if it's going to occur, but if it does, then, then I would be prepared, just understanding liquidity concepts. But until then, if it doesn't happen, then I'm just going to be waiting for price to pull back. If it does, then I'll be looking to take shorts. Okay. So hopefully that helps. So mark off that level 59374 and then maybe like 595 into that level there, NZD Chef. GBP, JPY. So quite similar to all the other yen pairs here. All right. So higher time frame, we're more or less consolidating. I don't really see a trend. Many people would say, oh, this is a flag formation. Now we broke out. Now we're going to pull back and go long. That is bullshit retail. Stop with retail. Okay. Not to say that we can't go long, but I'm just saying, just if you're basing your trade off of this flag formation and breakout, what is a flag? It doesn't mean anything. How would the institutions making money with a flag formation? There's no logical explanation. So that means henceforth, it doesn't matter, right? So once we break out, everyone and their mother is going to be wanting to buy this, right? So I'm looking to actually sell, observe the masses and do the opposite. It's probably why we do so well, is because everyone else is doing one thing. I'm going to do the other thing. That's how the institutions make money, guys. They observe all the masses and they just take their liquidity. It's really what happens. So anyways, if we are to possibly go long, and I'm not going to say we can't go long, but if we are, we probably need to come back down into at least, 162.5. We haven't done that yet. So if we get a pullback back up into our supply levels here or here, I'll be looking to take shorts from there. Okay. We can see high, low, high, descending liquidity, run, sell off, pullback, fail to come into that supply zone, and then we fall again. So that's why I have two levels, boom and boom. So looking for shorts, and we can just see that across the board. EJ looking to fall, AJ looking to fall, looking to sell NJ as well. So GJ will probably follow suit. This stuff in here just irritates the hell out of me because so many people continue to trade this even after I've told them it doesn't work, and I proved to them it doesn't work. And they keep trading and losing money, but they don't know how to get out of their own minds. Don't look to do that, guys. Okay. And I'm not saying it's not going to go long. Sure, if it does, great. Then we'll just adapt to it and we'll say, okay, well, we actually went long from this. Then we'll look to pull back and we'll look for liquidity concepts to take it long again, right? But don't trade based upon the initial breakout of this flag, pull back and go long. Everyone is taught to do that. That's just retail concepts. NZD JPY looking for shorts because we've hit objective. Let's understand what that objective looks like. So all in here, we were looking for longs, and I think we had a few opportunities, but never pulled back. So I don't think we got into any longs here. But anyways, we were taking profit if we did get into longs at this objective price point. Why is that the objective? Well, I'm just going to do a higher time frame breakdown of this. Okay. Right in here, this was our last sort of bullish run before the huge sell-off, also imbalance. We finally come back up into that level with this pullback. You can see the counter trend, high, low, high, low, high, low, failed to make a higher high, lower low. This is where we started the downtrend. Okay. So this area is our supply. So around 88 or 90 would be that supply level. Generate equal highs. So when we're finally pulling back up into it, that would be our objective, meaning any buy orders that we incur, that would be our take profit, our proper take profits. This is how not only we can get precise entries, but precise take profit placements to get the best risk to reward, to make the most out of our trade. So we've entered into the objective. However, just like I said with AJ, I know I'm zoomed out, it's blurry, guys, just bear with me. Higher high, higher low, higher high could make a higher low for another higher high because technically we still are counter trend bullish. So our demand zones, which I'll talk about in a minute, are still valid. But because we made that push up into objective, I wouldn't be surprised if we fell. If we fell, then that would make sense to me. But I'm still looking for counter trend buys in here. But because of the fact that we reacted off of the higher time frame objective, and on a lower time frame broke structure, and we haven't come into this level yet, any pullbacks into our supply zones, if we are to possibly go long, we still need to come into here, then we're still valid for short into that level. Because this is the setup is we kind of distributed ever so slightly into this level, high, low, high, low, high, low, failed to make a higher high, lower low, slight pullback, lower low again. So that's why I have two levels of supply there and there. Okay, so pullbacks to short into our demand levels and then potential longs. We'll have to see. The reason why I like potential longs, well, one, we're still, counter trend bullish, but two, we have equal lows. Our demand levels reside in discount, right? 71, 78, just discounted price. And we can see when we snagged liquidity here, equal lows sell to buy, coming into demand. Okay. What we did do, we sold to buy. We failed to make that lower low because we reacted off supply in here, and we made that higher high. So that becomes our new demand. I'll just zoom into it so you can see it clearly. We had that, I think it's 4 hour. Yeah, 4 hour time frame. We had that repricing event that I talk about, right? Supply is right there. If we were to continue with this overall counter trend, we would have went like that. But we knew we weren't going to do that because we already swept liquidity and we came into our daily time frame objective to go long again. So when I saw that reaction, I'm like, okay, boom, boom, failed to make a lower low as expected, higher high. This becomes our new demand level. So either pullbacks into that level or just below these equal lows into an unmitigated level of demand in here. Okay, that's why I have two potential areas of interest. So shorts from here, longs from here. Okay. So be careful. If we come into here first and we have a big reaction, I don't think I'll look to sell from here anymore. Okay, because the objective had been met. So just we'll use a little common sense when it comes to market structure. A few more. NZD CAD. I'm not going to go over all this. Higher time frame, we're bearish, right? High, low, high, low, high. I've talked about this stuff many, many times. I actually went over this, liquidity run into supply distribution from that sponsored move, right? So we're making a lower low. Just continuing with lower time frame trend. You can see the lower lows, lower highs. We caught this move here. We caught this move here, and we caught this move here. So 3 trades we're still currently in here on VIP. The most recent one, obviously, liquidity buy to sell, pull back into supply. Lower low was formed. Reaction, failed to make the higher high, lower low was formed. Draw on liquidity, those equal lows. When we pull back, we know we're going to go short because we have to attack that liquidity. We pull back into that supply zone. Boom, wick entry again. Low, high, lower low, our last point of supply. Okay. And now we're in profit again from this. So got that wick entry again from Friday. So it's just repeating the process over and over again. And I don't know how I can possibly be lying to anyone here for the individual who said I was trash. I mean, to be quite frank, I created a whole video highlighting every single one of my trades from our New York session analysis, starting from the 1st of September, and went through each individual trade here from the before and after and created a video. And we ended up, just based upon pure numbers, about 45% return. So, I mean, don't know how I can be lying, really. But anyways, we got that entry here. And all you VIP members, you can attest to all this stuff. If I'm lying, please call me out on it. Please. But anyways, I talked about this last week. I sent it out to the free community as well. If you're part of my free Discord community, I even sent this out right in here. Free setups. Boom, right there. NZD CAD. That's where I wanted price to go and come to, and then fall 7955. That's exactly where we're reacting from now. Okay, so again, I don't know how I can pull that out of my ass and fake it. I don't get it. But anyways, we're all making money here. NZD CAD, that's what we're doing. AUD CAD, very similar. We entered into our area of interest. We created ascending liquidity, looking to attack that liquidity next. We're just continuing to short. I mean, I had 5 entries from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're actually in our 6th one right now. Still continuing to hold because higher time frame, we've come up into our higher time frame sponsor candle that swept liquidity into supply. We reacted from that, distributed, and now we're looking at a higher time frame lower low. So that's why I'm holding for that higher time frame level into 87 psychological level to make that lower low below that low. I mean, it's just day in and day out at this point. But continuing with overall structure and, quickly going back to NZD CAD, if we do get a break of structure, let's just say we go long. Fine, I lose this trade. Oh, well, whatever. Okay. Now, does this mean that I'm going to go long, right? Does that mean I'm going to go long? Absolutely not. Why? Because we are in a higher time frame bearish downtrend. If we're going to go long, we're going to be taking out all this liquidity here and probably pushing back up into higher time frame premium supply zones. Okay, which I have highlighted there. So that would be that overall retracement for another shorting opportunity, right? To make an overall lower low in NZD CAD. Same sort of deal for AUD CAD shorts, right? We may have an overall pullback. Who knows, right? This could still be a lower low and a lower high. Who knows what we'll come into, but it could still happen. That's just lower time frame structure, higher time frame structure. That's just it. But for the current time, I just got to be treating each individual swing point as its own trend. So what we did do, equal highs were formed here. Supply zone was mitigated. I didn't trade that, so I'm not going to take credit for it, but I can see that we're trading in the correct direction of trend. Liquidity was run in the opposite direction. We continue with the overall direction. Break of counter trend structure, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, lower, low. Break it into supply, taking liquidity. Okay. So this also happened at 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. London session manipulation, time and price. So very important. So we chop around, we generate more liquidity. We generate buy side and sell side. Buy side meaning here off of that, double top. So that bullcrap retail formation there. And then this trend line when people are trying to buy off there, 1, 2, 3, 4 touches or so. So looking for price to open and go short. If we come higher, we may come higher, fill some imbalance. Stops are above the high. And if we end up breaking, well, then we break the structure and we look for overall pullbacks to short again. And then I lose that trade and then I'll take credit take responsibility for that one. Okay. I just want to be transparent with all you guys. Right. AUD CAD, GBP NZD. So very similar. We're in this trade in a little bit of drawdown at the current time, but overall we're still very much bullish on GN counter trend. Not only is the Aussie dollar and the New Zealand dollar very weak, which would push GN and GA up, which is why we're looking at GA longs as well. But Aussie dollar is tanking, NZD, USD is tanking, Aussie and New Zealand dollar weakness across the board. Plus, very, very quickly, and I'm just going to do this based upon this time frame. There was a 1 hour time frame level of demand. I guess that's why we stopped here. We created equal lows. We sold into those equal lows, did not create a lower low, right? And then we broke counter trend structure to the upside. So now I'm looking for an overall retracement here, even though we are overall bearish. Okay. So now lower time frame, there was a 4 hour or maybe a 1 hour. Yeah. 1 hour sell candle. You guys can see that sell candle there. So let's go back to the 4 hour now. This was like that. This is how we screw retail traders over. 1, 2, 3 touches of the trend line. They're buying, they're placing their stops below the quote unquote support. Boom, take their stop losses. Okay. In addition, hit the sell stops, people trading below, that breakout traders. Nope, right back to the upside, take their stop losses. Next, retail. Break and retest off of the support. That's why we had that mini sell candle there. Nope, right back to the upside, take their stop losses. Generate more liquidity. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. They sell from the trend line, place their stops here. Okay, they're in a little bit of profit. Nope, right back to the upside, take their stop. This is how retail continues to lose over and over again. It's just easy. Okay, so now we had a trade from here. Sent this out. I talked about this for the past few weeks. All right, this is September 9th, so about 2 weeks ago. Sent this in VIP, talked about it in the live session. So boom, we're still in this trade here, break even. Reacted off the retail trend line again here and again here, started to push down, retail screwed over again. We created equal lows, we sell into those equal lows, and hopefully we can go long and create another higher high. 1 drive, pullback, 2 drive, pullback, looking for a 3rd drive. We may come a little bit lower than here, we come deeper into here. That's okay. But overall, we're still very much bullish, counter trend. We have taken these equal highs. We have a little bit more of equal highs in here. And we can see we have an unmitigated supply level and sponsorship candle there at 1.94 psychological level to fill some imbalance as well. This sponsor candle swept liquidity coming into another sponsor candle to mitigate that also swept liquidity lower time frame that pushed up into this supply level that swept that high. So it's just a mitigation train at the end of the day. I know I'm going through this quickly, but we don't have a ton of time here. So really I'm looking for overall longs. Honestly, lower time frame, another one is retail, head and shoulders, fake out potentially to go long. So they lose again. But we'll have to see. I'm favoring further upside. Remember, this is the low that created this high. So my stops were not right there. All right. Just because I have this box here doesn't mean I'm entering. Well, I am entering there, but I'm not placing stop there. It doesn't mean that. I'm just showing you where the demand zone is. So wanting that 3rd drive into the high, if I pull my fib from the most recent swing low to the high, we can see negative 27 lines up with that zone. It's a good confluence as well. looking for further upside. Currently no re-entry point at this current time. We'll keep you guys updated with it though. AUD, NZD, just a few more, and then we are done. Hopefully you guys are marking all this stuff off. So we have a lower and a higher time frame entry point, and I'll just share that with you today, both of them, and see how we can take advantage of it. Why are we looking at 1.13? I don't know how many times I say this. Your stops and take profits are just as important as your entries. You can be a phenomenal trader, have the best entries in the world, but if you don't know how to take profit correctly, you're just going to screw with the amount of money you make, right? So understanding where the objective lies, or the narrative, if you guys want to call it that. If we zoom out here, 2017 or 2018, we were looking at taking out those highs when we were trading in here, and we did do that, which is why we were buying all in here, and I'll show you in a little bit. Then the next one, we broke, made another higher high. Where's the next area of liquidity? Right here, 2017 highs, 1.12902 is the exact high, but 1.13 is that psych level. And we are very much bullish, so we're looking to attack liquidity now, higher time frame. 4-hour time frame, we've had so many trades in here. All you VIP members know this. There was a trade in here with this huge sell to buy that reacted off of this demand that swept liquidity, just continuing with market structure. Lower time frame, we had a trade in here that swept liquidity, sell to buy. And we also had another one in here that was a little bit short-lived. We ended up coming down, hitting break even. But nonetheless, we had another one from 1.0990, which is this last huge sell to buy. This is also the demand. Excuse me, over here. Oops, that's what we're looking at now. The demand with the imbalance that we failed to come into here, that swept liquidity that came into this demand. So it's just market structure. It's just last points of return. We can see we had that wick entry, 1.0990s right there. So we're still holding into 1.13. But because of the fact that we had sell to buy, chop, 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 expansion, that becomes our demand. And I said that on the 17th of August, or whenever that live session was, verbatim, I literally said, since we were consolidating, if we continue to see a consolidation and then an immediate expansion, this automatically becomes demand, right? So that's what we're looking for. Pullbacks. I was originally looking for a pullback into it to go long, but we're expanding out of it. Doesn't mean that we can't come into it. So if we break structure, this is not a structure break. This is just an overall retracement into our higher time frame demand level, because we can treat this as higher high, higher low, higher high. Okay, so it's just like the whole AUD JPY situation, right in here. Just because we didn't come into initial demand here doesn't mean we're going to, this is a break of structure. This doesn't mean that it's a break. It's just an overall retracement to go long again. So hopefully we can just pair that visual with what we're seeing now on AUD NZD. So I know it's zoomed out. Just want to give you a bigger picture here. Just go to the 4-hour. So that's what we could see. We could see that one more drive, because technically we have like relatively higher, like equal highs in here. One more drive, have the overall retracement, and then boom, 1.13 is our objective. But we may not do that, because when we failed to make, when we broke the counter trend structure here, we took a trade. We took 2 trades within, I totally forgot. There was another opportunity right in here when we failed to make the higher high and made the lower low. So we started this pullback phase. I did not see this one in time, but we did take advantage of this one. We took advantage of this one in here. And then there was another one, I think. I don't know if there was a third one, but I know we had at least 2 sent to the VIP members. So congrats on those. But anyways, we swept relatively equal lows. We ended up stopping, right? We failed to make a lower low, and then we broke structure higher high. And now we're just starting to kind of trickle up as we go. We're creating equal highs. That will be that draw on liquidity. And now we're looking to have that overall pullback into our demand zone, right? Just as that break of structure, pullback long. But if we get a deeper retracement, I'm still looking for longs there. So longs here or longs here would be definitely very much valid for AUD NZD. Okay, so let's call it 1.1155 and 1.10745 for our 2 entries. All right. AUD Swiss franc. You know what? I'm not going to talk about this one just because it's so far away. 665, guys, just if you want to write that down. I mean, there's a lot going on lower time frame, but in all reality, We're very much higher time frame bearish, low, high, low. We're looking for a retracement to go short again. We took liquidity, buy to sell. Really, this is your last point of supply before the lower low. So that's just what I'm waiting for. It looks very similar to kind of a Euro Chef, but we're nowhere near this. It could take days or weeks just because this pair moves relatively slow. So I may talk about this when we get closer to this level on upcoming live sessions, but you guys can say, let's just call it 665, and then we'll call it 66884. Just those two levels. But I'll talk about this later when it's more imminent, or when we approach this level here. Euro Chef. So with Euro Chef, we are very much bearish, right? Lower low, lower high. We made that lower low. We actually swept liquidity on Friday. So that's just the structure. We're higher time frame bearish. So we need to be looking for shorts. 1 hour time frame, we created that lower low. We're starting to pull back. Equal highs were formed. We had a level of supply. What do? We pulled back, pushed up into supply, and then we fell. So when I saw that counter trend break of structure, we swept liquidity, broke the structure counter trend. We're overall bearish. We came up into supply, had a great reaction, filled imbalance in here. And that gives us, a lot of confluence to take a potential short trade. So I was hoping that we would get up into this supply zone because it's, high, low, failed to make higher high, lower low. We're wanting that pullback into supply. We never got that retracement, and we ended up falling. That's probably because it just so happened to react maybe off this 4 hour sponsor candle, buy to sell. Just never got a deep retracement, but oh well, it's okay. We move on. That's why we keep, just keep moving on. We get other trades, right? So we get a pullback, boom, 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 fail to come up into this level. Our last buy to sell imbalance in here as well. We pull back just a slight bit, make another lower low, come all the way back up, enter into here. I sent this out and talked about this on the live last week. And we took that trade, beautiful wick entry, and took profit here, 95527. The reason why I did that, I'm holding a little bit to 9.5 just because that's the psych level, but this is the prior low. So just in case we do have that liquidity run, which we're seeing now, at least we got out of our position. It's just a very strong take profit level in my opinion. But, since we are still overall bearish and we swept liquidity quite strongly, huge sell, huge buy, I wouldn't be surprised if we got an overall retracement. But remember where the range is. The range is from this high to this low here, because obviously lower low, this low created that high, this high created that low. So this low should create a high, whether it be here or whether it be here, right? So this is still in just a higher time frame pullback if we get it. So that's why I'm saying this supply zone that we failed to pull back up into in here could act as liquidity, higher time frame to go and run to come up into it, higher time frame to then short off from that level, making it still valid. So I'm still holding that level, but if we do end up just respecting lower time frame trend, which we did here, we could do the same, in here or in here, right? We could just respect and go short and just continue with the overall direction of the market. So even though I still think this is valid up in here, let's just call it 9.8. So it's very close to that psychological level. So 0.98 is still valid, but the lower time frame areas would just be the most recent swing point, last buy to sell, fill up imbalance, which we entered into, half risk here, and then we have half risk here. So, we're floating around break even right now, maybe in a little drawdown. But if we come up a little bit higher, and this is why I have two entries, is because when we had that reaction from that supply zone, we created another one. Pushed up reaction, failed to make the higher high, lower low. And then we have imbalance in here, just supply and imbalance. So we could push up into this sort of level. Let me go back to the 1 hour. That's why we could push up into that level before shorting. But if we continue with lower time frame structure, obviously we could just react and go short here. But obviously, if we come up and have a higher time frame pullback, we could definitely react and go short there. Okay, so 3 potential levels there. I am sitting at break even on this right now. So if we come up here, hits me break even, no worries. It took my partials here. I'm just leaving a runner for 0.95, which is that psych level in case we continue with trend, which could be expected because one, we're overall bearish and we still need to be looking for shorts. So guys, I know that was a lot. Mark off these levels. Let's just call it, we're already in this 9,650, 9,712, and then obviously 0.98. So, take a screenshot, whatever you want to do with that. But those are my levels on Euro Chef, and we'll see how they play out this week. All right. So that's it, guys. That was 25 pairs. Hopefully you guys learned something or, took something from it. Truly enjoy watching breakdowns on Forex pairs. Really appreciate it. Thank you. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you for taking the time. I know a lot of you, spend all this time, 2 hours on your weekend to watch this. I really do appreciate it. I think we had about 100 people, about 40 people dropped off as we were going, but all the 60 people who still remain, I do appreciate it. The people who dropped off probably don't want to make money, to be quite honest. It's kind of funny how that works. It is quite funny to me because, you think about it. It's like, it only is about an hour and a half. You have the recording. Why not stay on? All this stuff is playing out, but then they complain about losing trades, but they don't want to take an hour or two out of their weekend and actually sit here and just watch and look at the levels I'm actually giving to you guys. But for all of you who have stayed, thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. And your time is very valuable. And I hope you guys are taking advantage of these areas and learning something from it. So that's the most important thing. So, all right, let's go with some questions. I'll stay on for probably another like 9 minutes or so, but until like 11:50. Then I'll hop off for my weekend, but I'll take some questions. How do I become a VIP member? Yeah, go to our website, arielfxtrading.com, book a free call with us. Just very quick call. Just would love to speak with you in regards to your goals because everyone's different. Everyone has different life situations, different financial goals, and we create customized plans for you based upon that to get you to where you need to be. That's why we are very much different than any other mentor out there, in my opinion. We have helped many, many people really become funded. A lot of people become funded over the past month. It's awesome. I love to see it. I know my boy James just got funded a little while ago. Let's see. Chef JPY, thanks. Awesome. Yep, I went over Chef J. Actually, no, I didn't. Did I go over Chef J? I don't think that was one of my pairs today. No, it wasn't. I just didn't see anything on it when I did the analysis. This is golden. Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'm going back to mark off these levels based on your teachings. Yeah, definitely. It's very important that everyone pays attention because when you get the levels, but two, you get to understand why we're looking at these levels. So you know what to be looking out for. And even if you don't want to be taking like sell or buy limits off of those levels, if you know how to confirm the trade, confirmation doesn't mean 100%. It just means, highly probable, and price enters into that area of interest and maybe breaks counter trend structure. That could be a possible confirmation. So you can always do that. But, so many times these trades are working out. Just use good risk management, everyone, please. But, in addition to this recording that you'll have afterwards in this live session, we have Smart Money Sundays that will be coming out tomorrow. So be sure to pay attention to that as well. Thank you for your patience explanation. It's easy to understand structure and different time frames thanks to you. Yes, key word there, guys. This goes for everyone. Gets easier. It gets easier. Repetition creates habit. I say this all the time. Repetition, repetition. You're not going to get it the first time. That's okay. You're never going to. If you pick up a guitar, right? Are you going to be a professional on your first go around? Absolutely not. This is why you can't be so discouraged when you look at the analysis here or try to trade smart money or really any strategy and are not immediately profitable. That is normal. I wasn't profitable trading smart money for over a year and a half, right? But I kept going with it, and now I am. I've been profitable for over 3.5 years now. But yes, it gets easier as you go. That's why, just keep sticking with it. Never give up. It's true. If you don't give up on something, you're going to eventually get it. It's just, are you willing to suffer through the adversity? Great stream. Thank you, guys. Yeah, appreciate you all. Thank you for the nice comments. I know some people would rather speak negatively, but we don't care. I do really appreciate the nice comments, though. How much is it to enter VIP? So we will talk about that on our call. So just book a call. Obviously, you don't have to join. We even give you our free proprietary trading plan, absolutely for free, just for booking a call with us, even if you don't end up joining. But I like to go over pricing on the call. I don't really like to say that here. Good job once again. Thank you, guys. I missed the beginning. Will it be uploaded today? Yeah, absolutely. So right the second I end this broadcast, it'll be immediately uploaded to the Trading.YouTube channel. So you can definitely check that out. Go back, pause it at any time. I really do like the fact that the recording is posted. What made you become consistent? Staying disciplined, having my set of rules and my trading plan, and knowing that just because I lose trades or may fail at the strategy initially doesn't make the strategy bad. It just means that I'm not experienced enough to understand how to trade it. So many people hop around from group to group, strategy to strategy, and continue to fail over and over again. And that cycle continues because they're looking for that holy grail golden strategy that they're supposed to look at one day and immediately start to trade and become profitable in. That's just not how the world works. You're going to fail in anything that you do initially. Anyone who says, oh, I picked up on something the first time I did it and become a pro, they're just lying, because that's not how learning works. So what made me become consistent? Just disciplined and, learning from my mistakes and experience, right? Experience. You're not going to be good at this the first month, maybe not even the first 6 months, maybe not even the first year. But I've been doing this for over 5 years, really smart money for probably about 4, but I've been consistent for 3.5. And so that means I've been inconsistent trading retail for about a year. And then I got into smart money, was inconsistent there for about 1.5 years. And then I've, just through constant study and focus and experience, it finally comes together and you're able to put all this together. It's really just experience, guys. It's just time. It's nothing that you can do differently. If you're already doing everything you can to study and learn and practice and be disciplined and following the habits of these consistently profitable traders, it's just a matter of time, right? It's not like you're maybe doing anything wrong. It's just time. And also psychology. Psychology is huge, absolutely crucial. If you don't understand psychology, psychology, in my opinion, is about 80% of trading. So many people will come to me saying, oh, I lost this trade. I got so mad. And then I'm sitting here, I may lose a trade and I just go about my day, happy or lucky, because I don't care, because I know my strategy works. I know I'm overall profitable. I know that losing is a part of the game and just sometimes happens. As long as I'm sticking to my rules, if I do that, I'm happy. If I lose a trade, oh well. So psychology is huge. And there's so many different facets to psychology, so many different facets to it. How to understand when you're over trading, when you're over leveraging, when you're revenge trading, understanding the difference between tunnel vision and the, the confirmation bias, hindsight bias. There's so many different key crucial aspects of it that maybe you don't even realize that you're falling for or being deceived from. Psychology is such an intricate concept. So I'm actually creating a psychology series on YouTube. I'm going to be releasing the first episode next week. It's all going to be free. But it's just a very surface level beginner, sort of introductory kind of series to psychology, just to help you understand what it really means. But then, towards the end of this month, maybe beginning of October, we are releasing our full in-depth psychology course. It's really going to be hitting hard, so in-depth stuff. So highly recommend that. That's going to be free for all current VIP holders, meaning our program holders. Program holders meaning, obviously, our mentorship program, our full bundle package holders. That's because that's the only package we sell. So yeah, that will be free for all you guys. What's your goals, bro? You seem very driven. I'm just very passionate, really. If you're passionate about something, you just don't stop. You love what you do. I see myself, helping hundreds and hundreds of more people become profitable. It's my overall goal with trading. And also to take my investment fund to, 8 or 9 figure investment under management. Because I currently have an investment fund that I trade with investor capital that I'm looking to grow capital with. So that's another one of my goals. It's always important to set goals, guys. I think another person said how to become VIP. Yeah, just head over to my website. Just book a free call with us. We'd love to speak with you. You get to see what it's all about. And if it's not the right fit, well, then it's not the right fit and you're fine. Once a wise guy said, learn from other people's mistakes and upgrade from it. Yes, that goes hand in hand with, me saying that, you need a mentor. And I'm not saying I have to be your mentor. It's not me trying to sell you on that. It's just me saying, learning from other people's mistakes and learning from the advice of people who have finally broken through and achieved what they want to achieve. They know the process. They know how to get you there. So learn from those people, and they're the ones going to be showing you the way. You know, if you try to do it yourself, I mean, yeah, you can, but it's just going to take way too long. It's going to take a long time for you to do it. Not to say that no one has done it before, but all of the millionaires or multimillionaire people that I know of, they have mentors. Warren Buffett has a mentor. Jeff Bezos has a mentor. Everyone has a mentor. Everyone has to start somewhere and learn from someone. That's just how you learn from mistakes and do it the right way, right? Because if you're just doing it by yourself, you don't know if the way you're doing it is the wrong way or the right way. But if someone's there who has done it before, can tell you if you're doing it the right or wrong way, it's just the learning curve becomes so much easier. Are you a full-time trader or still studying? Yes, I'm both. I'm a full-time trader and I'm still studying. I say that because everyone is still learning everywhere. Even the rich people, there's always something to learn. There's always something to improve upon. So of course, yes, I am a full-time trader, but I'm also still learning. I'm also still studying. I mean, you even have Elon Musk, right? Even though he's the richest man in the world, he's still learning. He's still studying. He's still learning from his mistakes. Everyone is still a student at the end of the day, even though they could be the teacher at the same time. All right, let's see, guys. I'll stay on for another like 1 or 2 more minutes. Obviously, the recording will be posted to the Trading Night YouTube channel. Be sure to check that out if you missed anything whatsoever. It'll all be there for you. Any last questions before we head out for the weekend? I really do appreciate your time this weekend. I know, it can suck sometimes getting on a Saturday, listening to some guy talk for an hour or two, but it's good content. So I appreciate your time. I really do. Let's see. Any last questions? Yeah, I keep getting comments here from how to join. So yeah, just guys, head over to my website and just book a free call. The call can be anywhere from like 10, 15, 20 minutes. Just want to talk to you, wanting to build that personalized plan for you. If your goal is to become a 6-figure funded trader, we have programs for that specifically to help you do that. If your goal is to, quit your job, there are specific steps we can take to help you do that. We are very client oriented, very specialized, individually with our clients. That's why we only take on a specific group of people, which is why we want to speak with you in the first place. Because I've had to turn people down before because they just didn't have the right mindset. I just don't want to work with them. It's just not going to be a fruitful relationship. Let's see. Any reason why you don't analysis GU? I did have analysis on GU today. EU, I did have analysis on EU today. I did. Just go back in the recording after this is done and just take a look at it. Just overall looking for shorts on it, dollar strength, but I have my areas of interest that you can look at. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate your time today. It looks like there's no more questions. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the weekend. And VIP, we will talk to you all Monday morning. But stay tuned, everyone. Whether you're in VIP or not, stay tuned for the Smart Money Sundays episode that will be released tomorrow evening. All right. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you all soon. Take care now.